So, here we are again.
Month and a bit since our last update.
2 or 3 days late, but we've had a lot on.
Got anything to say for yourself?
I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling more my normal self.
I meant about NickeRMel.
About NickeRMel, I think we're getting on very well. We're doing a lot of recording lately. We've nearly completed another scene, and we're on the way. Still a few difficult ones to do, but we'll get round to them eventually.
Look what's behind you.
Oh, yes.
Is that a certain original opening?
It could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been a month, but we've released the listener short story,
which I was very impressed with. I thought it was brilliant. I thought that format really suited the story.
This is still the intro. Okay. I haven't done the cut bit yet, so we might as well just jump to that now, I suppose.
Jump to the listener?
No, and jump to the beginning of the NickeRMel update.
Well, I thought we were already doing the NickeRMel update.
No, we jumped past that bit. See, this is why sometimes improv is not a good thing.
Oh, I don't know. It brings out the best in people.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this majority April but technically filming on the 2nd of May update. We are here with you
and you
and in my bedroom, just to change the location up a little bit. We've got the work print of the Object Legacy playing in the background, so if we don't want any spoilers, just ignore the background. But aside from that, yeah, we're doing good. As we said in the intro, the listener short story, narrated by myself, is out now. We filmed this in February, believe it or not. I mean, you probably tell from the length of my beard now. It's been cut like 3 times since then, and I've grown it back out again. But yeah, I personally wanted to get this one done because it's an unfinished film, really.
Unfinished project.
Yeah, and
in the background. And
unlike Object Legacy, where we can, work around certain scenes, with that particular segment of that story, not going into details, there was no way around getting around what we'd lost, essentially,
and we couldn't complete it because of personnel and footage that was missing.
There's a minuscule bit of footage. It's mostly audio that was missing, like the narrations and stuff. But in order for us to fully do that story justice again, we'd have had to have started it completely from the beginning again, because not naming names, but we'd essentially have had to film every scene again from that short story. And at this point in time, that's not on the agenda. It's something I'm thinking of later down the line, if this universe goes anywhere in the future. If somebody buys the rights to the franchise and picks it up. But yes,
of course you will.
Because obviously that's something I want to do when we're building up to this big Warriors film. I want to kind of go off as that's being filmed and make these short story prequel films to set up the big film. And now that I think of it, Listener would be a good way to fit in that kind of origins catalogue, because the character of Joanna Taylor does come back quite a bit, not straight away, but she will come back quite significantly, and
later on.
And so does Dennis Clark. You can see him
even though he's dead.
He's totally dead. Anyway, moving on from that and the time warps, and let's do the time warp again. I've got a list here again.
Time warp again.
So, and yes, the mic is on. We have checked before we started filming this time.
Good.
So we're not going to have to do it all over again, hopefully.
Thank God.
So yes, I went on my Facebook list. I don't know if I'm going to show you screenshots or not, because I'm a very lazy editor. That's why it took the short story of the listener to come out for 2 months. But yes, we're getting along nicely with the first project I'm going to talk about, the Object Legacy. I mentioned that there is a bit of delay on the block A of reshoots, which is mostly scenes between us, because I am near enough clean shaven / stubble, and I've gone a bit beyond that now.
But you need the beard for another part.
I needed the beard for another part.
So that's setting a delay.
Yeah,
really.
so that's delayed those block of scenes, which ironically we've only got one more left to do of those blocks, but there is more scenes that we need to do. For instance, pickups at the pub. You've probably seen some screenshots from that scene. It's the kind of, I won't say where that scene fits in, but it's a crucial scene. And yeah, I need to kind of be in that kind of stubble look just to kind of maintain continuity, because all those scenes are set around the same day, so it would look a bit weird if suddenly
you grew a beard by the evening.
I mean, we do have a bit of a problem with that with Steve in one scene where he goes to this isn't a spoiler really, because we used a bit of the footage for the listener short story.
And there he is in the background.
Yeah, that's another scene. This is where it's covering over the listener footage. But yeah, we shot scenes of the mental institution scene, and obviously Steve's beard's massive in that scene because, again, scheduling conflicts with something else. He had to keep his beard for filming something. Literally the same day we were kind of overlapping, so it was either the choice of waiting it out till God knows whenever Steve's going to be free and he's going to be short beard, or getting the scene done and knowing in the back of my mind that it's done and just kind of ignoring that continuity error, because it's happened before, like when the businessman.
But to be honest, we haven't got an exact timescale on that, sure, have we?
Yes and no, because that loop in I say the beginning of the Object Legacy, it's no longer the beginning, because obviously the listener happens and all that, but that beginning part where he wakes up and then kind of goes to work, that little mental institution scene is kind of
supposed to be
in between, so it's supposed to be within the loop.
Right.
Not to give any spoilers away, but yes, and obviously, as I was going to say, we had this issue with Elliott as well, because when we filmed the beginning scenes of The Businessman, it was actually one of the last things to be shot, those scenes at Lloyd's Bar, which unfortunately does not exist anymore, which is a shame.
In Chichester.
Yeah, because that's where we would have done our finale scene, really. And yeah, so at the scenes at the bar he's got a beard, on the scenes walking home he doesn't, and the scenes where he has a tiff with one of his girlfriends, he doesn't have a beard, so it's literally beard, no beard, but it was just a case of availability. We needed Elliott, he was available but he couldn't shave, so it was just keeping the momentum of those scenes. And when those sort of things, like I was watching these videos about editing courses, and sometimes there's like really like Oscar-worthy films, and then there's like these blatant continuity errors where like someone's talking to someone and then it will jump over the person's shoulder. I think it's like Goodfellas or something. And the person that was just being focused on now suddenly has a cigar in the forefront, and then it cuts back and then the cigar's completely gone again. But it's with editing like that, it's not about keeping continuity of everything in the scene, it's about keeping continuity of the momentum of the scene, of the emotion of the scene, and that's what makes the scene flow. So that's really what I've embraced. And yeah, I don't know if I mentioned anything else about Object Legacy, but yes, we're looking for the few cameo roles that we've got, the news reporter, Helen, stuff like that. Robin's out of commission at the moment. I won't go into details about that, it's personal, but we're hopefully getting Robin back for something else that I can't mention at the moment because it's not my project, at the end of May. And then after that, hopefully from June, it's just bang, bang, bang. We can finish off Object Legacy. I can send it off, get it colour graded, get music for it, and we have a stellar film hopefully released at the end of this year. I mean, you will see the Object Legacy by the end of the year. That is pretty much my determined goal. I don't care what state it's in. I want it.
You get it released.
Yeah.
You can always do more to it. After
Yeah, like pretty much like
you can always re-release it with director's cut.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the same with The Businessman, to be personally honest. If I can go back, do the visual effects on those scenes, I might even add infiltration into it and segments of the Fear Inside where those scenes cross over. I think that might work quite well as a extended director's cut of Businessman. But again, like Object Legacy, if it's something we can't finish in time, like the indie George Lucas wannabe I am, I'll revisit my works and just keep adding to it, and people will go, oh no, the original was better, stop messing around with your work. Sorry, no, it's mine, get off, it's mine. So yeah, final report. Again, similar problem with Object Legacy is, and especially with Final Report as well, is as I'm the central character of Final Report, there's some scenes I can do because Final Report jumps all over time, like
backwards and forwards.
There's like Final Report, even though the main narrative is set about 6 months to a year after the end of Object Legacy, from that mid to end point, it then jumps over the course of 10 years. So we get visions of future events. So you will see Jack in like different locations, different emotions, different
different
afflictions. I'm trying not to spoil, but I can't help myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that and also another thing I've talked about is possibly extending. It's no secret now, I want to introduce a Warriors team into Final Report, and we've talked about Team Hotel quite a bit. I'm not announcing the casting yet because until we get these people in front of the camera and they're confirmed, I wanna keep my eggs in the basket. I'm very happy with
your options open.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the people we've got lined up at the moment. Some of them I'm sure you'll know straight away if you've seen any of the trailers or anything for our current projects.
Some you won't.
That's not just looking at some of my projects, wink wink nudge nudge, but also there's a couple you will not. But aside from that, yes, there's basically the scenes that were in the original script are a setup scene for an action film, and I thought it might be more beneficial if the action film that I was contemplating in my head is just part of Final Report. I don't want Final Report to just be setup after setup after setup, building this world up. I want it to have a narrative through line. I do want to kind of leave it teetering on a little bit of a cliffhanger, because this is, even though we're 10 films in, this is still the beginning of this world. We technically haven't even got to the first proper mainline film yet, which is Warriors. Yeah. This is all, to me, this is all still backstory for all these important characters coming forward. So yeah, that's essentially the way it is. So it's going to be one of three ways. We either just keep the scenes as they are and then go back to that short film idea later, hopefully with the cast returning, or we add it in, or I cut the scenes entirely, which I don't want to do at all. I really want to show off Hotel. I mean, I've spent a lot of money on these costumes and weapons, so I want to get some use out of them. But not just that, I really want to show these characters off, because they are almost prototypes of what we'll come to know as Echo Team. They're not identical to Echo Team, but they're not the current Echo Team that you know of, Jack, Seth and Fred, but the Echo Team that we'll come to know of in Warriors, that include some of the American characters. They're very much a counterpart of each other. So I really want to show off how these team dynamics work when they're hunting down supernatural threats. Moving on, I believe I'm talking about Memory Remains next, and obviously I've got to be very careful what I say.
You don't want to say too much.
Yes, because Steve hates it when I talk about his film, because he always likes to approve of what I say and share. Even if I make a trailer, he's like, "Oh, can you remove that one shot because I feel like it spoils this and that and that." Yeah. Blah 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 blah. Which is all fair. It's his film. It's his story. And Dave's, obviously, they both came up with it together. It's the way they want to tell it. So all I can say is like I said in the post, aside from possibly doing reshoots after, and please to God, make sure this beard is not part of the reshoots, there is only one more block to film. There is a lot of scenes in this block, but it's all in one location, with 4 people in it, sort of, and that's all I can say. And then that's it. His film is pretty much almost in the can, and as I said on the Facebook post, there's no ETA on Memory Remains because Steve has an idea of how he wants to release it. And
you've mentioned
that to me is not something that I should be telling you until Steve says to me, we're looking to do this, and I can say to you guys, we're looking to do this. But I failed to mention it. Obviously, we're aiming Objects Legacy 2025 December. Final report is probably going to be somewhere in 2026. I'd like them both to be out relatively close together, but I don't think it's going to happen because...
Well, it depends if you keep adding scenes.
Well,
really.
I tell you the main problem. You know why I keep adding scenes? Is because I get bored. Because every time I say, shall we do filming, and you go, yeah. It delays me. So my brain ticks over. Oh, look, leading into the next project in a minute. Detective Harper, we'll talk about that in a minute. But every time you delay me with filming, my brain comes up with new ideas. Like, I came up with a new idea literally the other day, and it's essentially Jack at a bar, like midway through his Warriors routine.
Oh, right,
and it's essentially almost a reenactment of the scene from The Businessman, where he just catches the eye of a woman, and next thing you know, they're getting off at it in the bar, and she kind of we won't go into details, but basically he's interrupted by a phone call from Seth saying, stop what you're doing, get to fucking work, you dirty whore. But yeah, that
sounds fun.
Yeah, it's nothing that's going to be in any film anytime soon, but it might be something that gets added later to a future project. That's all I'll say on that.
Sounds fun.
But yes, we haven't forgotten about Detective Harper's reports. All I'll say is they were meant to be our, as the audience, recap into Object Legacy, so that would naturally make you think they've got to be released before Object Legacy. So we've got a bit of a deadline for this show, and they're only micro episodes. They're literally from like 3 to 5 minutes long, mostly audio with a couple of visuals thrown in there. But let's just say there is scheduling issues. But I have in my mind a backup plan, but the backup plan would be harder to do. Yeah. So I'd much prefer to keep to the original vision of the original plan of what the show was supposed to be, rather than rejigging it, having Jack in yet another thing, because I love Jack Harper and I want to play him forever, even though I probably won't, because I'm so sure if I do sell this story off somewhere,
you'll be too old by then.
I'll be too old, and they'll be like, no, you're no fucking Tom Cruise, you're a short stumpy little dwarf, we need someone.
Yeah, but so's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, but he's got
good looking stumpy little dwarf.
He's got the chops, and he's got the thrill ride seeking part of him, whereas I'm a cripple. But yeah, that's us talking about the 3 main films and the possible show. Obviously, we've also got coming up Comedy Show and Steve's show.
The comedy shows, company things that no
copyright. Right, so I am planning, as August is our, obviously, NickeRMel's anniversary. It's also the comedy show's anniversary because it was the first thing. I want to try and get this show started by August. Yep. Not started filming, started releasing. So literally either towards the end of this month or next month we will begin production of the all new comedy show, and then what we're going to do is probably aim for 8 episodes, but I could see it dropping down to 6.
Well, let's see what ideas we come up with.
And then what we'll do is to keep the momentum, because I'm planning for Steve's show to come back for your birthday next year, because that's when it started in April of 2026. But if we keep the momentum going, a comedy show, and jump straight into Steve's show, we'll have because that will be definitely limited to 6, because it was always 6. There's no point changing it. If we keep those momentum, those episodes can be in the bag long before we have to even air them.
I believe that one will see it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But
good
then
plan.
If those 2 are done, we can start moving on to the next series, a comedy show. Maybe get back to doing some 1-minute wonders. You never know. Also working on concepts for our next big film, because we're not jumping. We've got our 3 project planned at the moment, and where Detective Harper Reports is kind of filling the series slot at the moment because it's been delayed. Comedy show can then kind of sort of teeter out of development and kind of start sizzling up. But if Detective Harper's Reports comes back up, then it'll push comedy show down briefly. But once it gets to like the late June stage, we're going to have to go switch gears completely to get to that August date. But either way, yes, they are coming. We are actively working on ideas, right?
We are indeed.
I believe that when I see it.
No, it's all up here.
But yeah, that's where we are with those 2 shows. And one of the main reasons that we wanted to do them was because not only I think I've said this before, not only did we want to get back to them because it's kind of our heritage really with making content. God, we're at 21 minutes already.
I know. I was going to say, you better push on with your list.
Oh God, we're not even halfway through it yet.
Oh God.
But it's relatively easy to make because we kind of have a baseline of the story, and then we kind of ad-lib our way to the end, and whatever happens in there tends to
happen
to be magic. So we'll see. Also,
that's where the magic comes.
Also, let me know how this mic's working, because my last mic, which I really like, broke last time I was filming with Steve and Harvey. I think it was probably me, I don't know. All I know is we filmed all my takes, then we filmed a little outtake, and then as Steve was experimenting with a shot, suddenly there was no audio. So yes, this is now the third, because I like to keep 2 mics on a go. I like to keep a stubby mic and a shotgun mic. So I've now gone through my first stubby mic and my first shotgun mic. So now I'm technically on my 3rd and 4th mic, which is a pain, but it is what it is. Anyway, another thing we have mentioned in the past is this Warriors promo reel.
Right.
Now I want to kind of recontextualise what I'm going to do with this, because a lot of the footage that we shot for this promo I ended up sticking in the latest trailer for Final Report, the one I released for my birthday. There's a load of shots where the Warriors are, gearing up, and a load of those shots we shot for the promo reel for Warriors that we plan to do, and that it's essentially just a pitch video. I want to use it as a pitch video to kind of go, look, this is the idea. This is the idea for this franchise, this universe, this big first movie. You can spin it off. You could just make a trilogy. You can make the trilogy plus the 5 shows and the other 2 spin-off trilogies. But please just let me help make this film. I don't care.
Why don't you let the AI tell the story as well at another occasion?
Not yet, because the AI spoils stuff. We discovered that if we put my franchise Bible into an AI, the AI analyses it straight away and gives you direct answers. So if I was to ask the AI straight away, who's Jack Harper's father, it would tell me straight away, which we are not revealing to the Final Report, which is a bit of a pain. So if you do have a copy of my franchise Bible and not read through it completely, don't spoil yourself. Otherwise you'll ruin the ending of not only the current films, but the whole franchise, like how the apocalypse happens and stuff. But we'll move that past that. Anyway, yes, Warriors promo reel. I am essentially planning on using, maybe redoing some of those action shots, because now we've got a few more bits and bobs. I might redo it, plus using all of the actual scenes that we've had Warriors in so far, maybe even some of these hotel scenes if we get around to it. So that promo reel may get delayed till around about Final Report is closing its edge. Or next on the list, we're moving into projects in development. Oh no, maybe not. No, we're talking about the NickeRMel update. We were going to make this. I mean, it's getting quite long now, but we were going to make this our first kind of experimental one. Not just talking about NickeRMel projects, but ironically, I seem to have a lot to talk about, even though I thought we did fuck all this month.
We also toyed with the idea of doing it outside during the day, didn't we?
Yeah,
as a different location.
And we were going to shoot it in the 4K camera and have it unedited, but we changed our mind on that. Yes, mostly these are behind the scenes content. Obviously, NickeRMel update, we're thinking of slowly upgrading it into a podcast where we're not just talking about the NickeRMel stuff. This one's just going to be about the NickeRMel stuff. We might do a part 2 later down the line, but we're going to talk about pop culture. We're going to talk about like our latest thoughts on Doctor Who, because with you probably a bit more than me, but especially the last episode, The Well, we've actually started to enjoy Doctor Who a bit more. Yeah. I was really burnt out after the whole Timeless Child stuff, and I didn't think the specials with David Tennant or the first series really did anything to fix that for me, and anything, it just kind of pushed politics over story a bit too much for me. Whereas this new series, there is still that. You can have a little
on the edge, but it's not as much.
You can have political stuff as long as it doesn't sacrifice the story
and override the story.
And since around about 2018, that has been the threshold, really, and it's not. I don't think it is the writers as well, but I don't think it's I think it's a mandate from the BBC now as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing at the moment, so I can't complain, but I'm not even saying the points they're making are bad. It's just you don't want it shoved down your throat all the time.
Not the whole time.
I might want something shoved.
That's not why you set out to watch a science fiction series.
I might want something shoved down my throat.
Well, yes. Please yourself, love.
But that's a different conversation entirely. Yes, and then we talk about our Doctor Who. We've long digested what we're going to do with the show. Obviously, it's not even going to be considered. I've got ideas, but we're not even considering trying to develop it until after after Object Legacy.
The final report.
Maybe final report could still be a big production, but I prefer if all of the big three are out of the way. Oh my god, look at my hair.
Wow.
I wish I could grow it like that without it becoming...
Is this when you're waking up out of your coma?
No. That should have been a good shout, actually. That would have been a really good idea. But yes, anyway, Doctor Who, we've come up with a couple of ideas. I've mentioned audio series, I've mentioned just a one-off short film, a bit like we did with Before the Prime, or maybe possibly resurrecting Curse of the Teenage Doctor. Obviously, Harvey filmed with us recently with Steve as well, and it's funny how long it's been like since we've all been together and filming, and literally within like half an hour it's like no time's gone past at all. We're literally I very much, I mean, probably without you can attest to this, I'm a bit of a bully with you with filming, but
it's lovely to everybody else, but me, just I've no patience whatsoever.
What I've noticed is Steve directs very much like I used to. He's very much on the button. You have to stick to the script. You have to do it like this. Now, for me, I kind of use the script more as a blueprint, unless it's a really, really important line that has to be said a specific way. I kind of like the actors to read the script and then get their interpretations of the lines,
of the meaning.
Yeah, so sometimes I just like to stand back and let them work and see what happens, because sometimes you can get something that you didn't completely expect at all from that scene. And what's great as well is Harvey and Steve have been playing these characters for at least 10 years now, since we started. 2012 we started Object Legacy production, and obviously Harvey's been playing Andrew Mars since 2008 when the first Object came out, so he knows that character like the back of his hand. He probably knows the character better than I do. I mean, and he knows, I think he's one of the few people that knows intimate details about the franchise Bible, where his character's going and stuff like that. Like, obviously he knows how pivotal his character becomes later in line. He does have a bit of a gap after a certain events that I won't say, but he will come back with vengeance at some point. I mean, whether it's Harvey or not, time will tell. It depends if the studio will allow me to bring back as many people as I want, but yeah, that's it. And as he said, I've spiraled now. Sorry, I was talking about Doctor Who. Anyway, as we're filming with Harvey did bring up a valid question. You're now 70. Yes. How does it feel to be 70, you old bastard?
Well, actually, I feel younger than I did last week.
But what Harvey said to me, which is a valid thing, is how much longer do you think you can be playing around at this? Much longer do you think before you have to retire? I mean, how many more scenes do you think you can run around going, oh, Doctor, let's run away from these aliens? Or maybe the scene from Final Report I've been trying to film for ages where you have to run away from the beast. And
how old was Thingy when he died just after the series?
What, William Hartnell?
No.
John Hurt?
No, not Doctor Who. The assistant, one of the goons, the one in the wheelchair. Thingy's grandfather.
Oh, Wilfred Moore.
Wilfred. He was a lot older than I am.
Yeah, but he was literally in one scene and died the next day. No offence, we love Wilfred Moore. He was great, and he was probably one of the highlights of those specials, to be personally honest. I had my disappointments with those specials, that's all I'll say. But that's neither here nor there. We are thinking of, because we always talk, even when we were going to do Curse like 8 years ago, that it was going to be your last series. You were going to come back as like a guest role, but it was supposed to be your last series as like a main.
Yeah, was Derek and Clive?
Yeah, you were supposed to kind of leave the TARDIS at that point. So we'd already taken that into context. But, you know, it is what it is, and so far we are currently a two-man team, and unfortunately you're double my age, so...
You're hardly a teenage Doctor.
No, exactly, that's the problem. I mean, it's good when I completely shave.
On that note, I think we ought to wind this up, because we're nearly into half an hour now.
Good. Podcasts are long. They're usually like an hour and a half. Right, yeah. Run through the quick next ones. Obviously, we started a behind-the-scenes project, the costumes and characters of Anthology, specifically focusing on Final Report. I've rejigged this as well. We started shooting new shots for it in February. It is basically... The initial thing I shot in January was just me holding up the costumes and talking about characters briefly. I didn't like it, but then...
You missed some of it as well.
Yeah, and I missed some of it.
To add.
So I decided to kind of... why don't we try these costumers on and do like 360 pans with our new kind of tripod things, and that footage is coming along quite nicely. It's just... The problem is there's so many bloody costumes and characters, it's taking a while to come through. Then it's going to be a ball ache to edit as well, because that's probably going to be like a half an hour behind the scenes as well, because not only will we go through all the new characters, but we've got to go through all the alterations of our costumes. I mean, we've got Jack Harper's main businessman costume, his suit costume, his first warrior's costume, which is technically Carl's costume as well, because he inherits it from Carl. Then his t-shirt costume and all this left, right and centre. The new characters like Spectre, who we may be getting sooner rather than later. That has to do with some rejigging of Mr.
Have you got an actor to play him?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I can't say.
No.
And what else was on my list? Bloody Inside the Businessman. I'm losing my voice now.
I think so. You've been talking.
I have been talking for half an hour. Sorry, folks. Yes. Again, with the Inside projects, it's really us getting our thoughts out on the project at the time and talking about it, what we felt about the project. And with the Businessman, it was so crucial to, because what you got to remember is the Businessman was initially a replacement project for Listener, because we were having problems. I mean, we had problems throughout the whole bloody thing, but initially we were just having problems casting the fucking character. So I wrote this alternate story that would do the same thing as Listener, which is essentially connect all the short films together to put it in one linear narrative. And then I came up with the idea of poaching characters from my Warrior concept story, and the whole thing ended up becoming a massive prequel. So those characters are very important to me. That film is very important to me, not only for the fact that these characters I've had in my head for 20 years, but it's also my first feature film I've wrote, directed and starred in, which is fucking nightmare to think about. I had a 13-year post on Facebook actually where my face was all covered in blood after I got run over, and I was thinking about it. We shot that scene in like 5 blocks. The block where me and Rob were at the car getting the guns out. Then the shot where it's me getting just about to be run over from the car's perspective. That was me, Gareth and Dean. The scene, the little cameo bit with Beth and Mike was done last. It was one of the last shots to be done for the film.
What, the one in the car?
Yeah, where Harvey comes over. The whole Harvey bit was done separately as well. So it was shot in like 5 segments for like a 5-minute scene, and it all blends together really well. So these are the sort of things that I want to cover in this Inside the Businessman, and I also want to try and get as many casts back for it as well, because obviously where we've covered the short films before, it is just kind of, and even Infiltration, it was just kind of us involved, so it makes sense for just us to be interviewed. But with the Businessman, it makes sense to try and bring back as many people as possible to talk about this film that we worked on. I mean, I'm sure everybody would just like, oh, so long ago I can't remember. But that'll probably be the answer. But it is what it is, as long as I get them in camera going. That's about it. Is there anything else? Because we are going on and on and on, and I'm sure people are getting sick to death of me. Projects in development. We talked about the Doctor Who one. There's an untitled short film that's on the list that I won't talk about because it may be a couple of short films. It's just on the list. It may be a project from me, it may be a project from Steve, it may be a project from all of us or someone else, you never know. Another story time. I'm contemplating what story time to do next. It'll either be a story that we haven't told yet, or I might go back and do one that we have done, maybe like a epilogue short story, doing the format that we did for Listener, where we go back at the short film and then convert it into a short story and see how it translates. And obviously with epilogue you can do it because you're the main character of that one. And video commentaries, that's something we've talked about as well. Obviously we've done audio commentaries in the past with crap shows, and I thought it'd be interesting, and I stole this idea from Russell T Davis, them just sitting on a couch watching the episodes and then talking about the process of making it while seeing their reactions. I thought that was really interesting, so I think that would work really well
before, but we haven't attempted it yet.
No. So that's everything on my list on the Facebook side. Is there anything you can think of that you want to mention? So obviously we've got production houses, Project Sunshine that works on the high-end projects like the big 3. We got Reproductions, which is the more in-house studio that works on all the behind-scenes crap. All are like really indie films like Freddy and the Comedy Show and stuff like that. Is there any, and you're like one of the main kind of heads of Reproductions, is there anything you've got to update us on Reproductions?
Not really, because I'm using my time at the moment to get your projects as close to being finished as possible, and I put mine on a bit of a back burner.
Well, that's not what you're supposed to do.
I know, but never mind.
Me and Steve don't operate like that.
I know you don't.
I have my project in mind, he has his project in mind.
Steve aren't 70.
Well, if you put
you're not dying for a drink.
If you put our ages together, we'll be 67.
Well,
so that's close enough. No, I want to say 67. I think,
possibly.
Because I was 37. Yeah. I won't reveal ages, but So that's the gist of it. So
now you know everything.
I'm also in contact with a couple of people. I want to give a shout out to obviously No, I'd say newish friend. I mean, we've been friends on Facebook for ages, but recently, obviously, Adam Turner's come into contact with me, and we've been talking about stuff. We're planning on meeting up soon and talking about stuff. He's got a new music video releasing soon, so I really recommend go checking his stuff out. And also, his director, absolutely phenomenal guy. The way he shoots stuff is great, and it's always, when I see stuff like that, it always makes me contemplate DSLRs, but not completely. I am always going to stick to camcorders because I'm always stuck in my way. It's like my editing process. I need to get fucking onto Adobe Premiere Pro. I've got the bloody install. I'm just too bloody lazy to install it. I really need to get back onto Premiere Pro. But yeah.
And then what you really need is another computer.
Yes, because my computer can't handle 4K footage. It's janky as hell.
A bit of a hold up for using your new camera.
And you may have a small update from us tomorrow because we may have something arriving and I may want to show it off to you.
We might show it off over the film.
Yes, that's another thing I'm thinking of doing as well, is showing you all the equipment that we've gathered over the last year, because I think we've got really into a position now. Aside from
we can cover almost everything.
Yeah, aside from the editing side, where I need to teach myself stuff, I need to teach myself certain visual effects, like muzzle flashes. Relatively, are really, really easy, but because my old brain is clouded with God knows how much crap, I can't figure it out, or I can't be bothered to learn. But it's something I need to sit down and figure out how to do myself, and that will be through After Effects and stuff like that. I just need to force myself to teach. That's why it's good to see these younger directors come out that have literally grown up with this stuff around them. Like it's fascinating almost to see that. Whereas like I feel like I'm a dying species now, where I kind of grew up with a camera, but I didn't have all this other technology around me to learn. So I'm becoming that dinosaur now that you used to be, that didn't even know how to use a smartphone, and now I'm the same with like current technology. Like with somebody, like if you handed me an iPhone a year ago, I wouldn't have known what the hell to use it. I do now have an iPhone thanks to a couple of my friends. But yes, so we may do a mini update tomorrow showing you a new piece of equipment and
acquisition.
Yes, and I want to do a mini update halfway through the month, talking about projects, but also talking about just general pop culture and stuff, like our thoughts on Doctor Who, any movies we've seen recently, what we're into at the moment, maybe talking about what's going on in town at the moment, because to be personally honest, there's a load of shit going on in Bognor, and I need to give a massive shout out to everybody, all the creative forces in Bognor, because there's so many of us around. It's shocking, like when you actually start meeting them and speaking to them online, and how many there is around town in West Sussex and stuff. I mean, I did have a circle of friends, well, I say friends, a circle of fellow filmmakers when I was at college, but I always felt like the black sheep of that group, and, well, I probably still am to this day. But I'll say no more about that conversation. Anyway, I am rattling on. We're at 43 minutes now.
I need to go to the loo.
He needs to go to the loo, and I probably need to go to sleep because I've got to get up in 4 hours.
That's not a very good idea.
What, going to sleep?
No, getting up in 4 hours.
No, it's not.
Anyway, thank you very much for...
I just saw you with the object.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're wearing glasses, Mr. Myers glasses.
Oh, it looked like a flashback to The Fear Inside.
Could be. Could be. It is. No, it's not.
No, that's now object legacy.
Yeah. Anyway,
it drove her insane.
You're going to say goodbye to these lovely people that we've just been boring to death for half an hour.
Do I have to?
You have to. I'm afraid.
Bye.
Bye. Parting is such sweet sorrow. See you again tomorrow. That rhymed.
Don't play. Hate the game. Bars! Tyrone. Magnus. Yes, thank you everyone for listening to us rattle on about crap and bollocks and shit and piss and all that.
Fiddle.
Yes, you you complete me. And again, thank you everybody, the new subscribers. I was really shocked. Like, if you looked at our subscriber count when we came back,
up by 2 or 3 every day.
At the end of 2023, we're less than 100, and now we've over doubled that now. And I know that seems really minuscule in the grand scheme of things, but to me that means a lot. That's like so many people watching my stuff, and for the introvert in my brain, that's hard for me to comprehend. I'm my own worst enemy. I'm always the person in my head that's going, your stuff is shit, no one's going to watch you, why do you bother? And to see that kind of come back and people leaving comments, some of you leave shitty comments, but it is what it is. You get it with the job, and I respect you guys as well. Any comments, comment.
I thought you were saying goodbye.
I am, but this is my long-winded goodbye, because I can't say goodbye to the lovely people of the world, and you're bending my chair. Don't break my new chair. That Steve got me. Copyright.
It's Steve's show. It's Steve.
Even more copyright.
Think about this ding ding ding.
I'll get Freddie and Semolina.
Made that up.
I'll get
copyright to you
because you copied the comedy show theme and just put
it's my own thing,
and just put your own name over it. No. I'm gonna get Freddie and Semolina in here to take you at the back and
beat me up.
I was going to say something. I was going to say something else, but I probably shouldn't. Yes. Anyway, thank you very much to all the audience. Thank you very much to my wonderful cast and crew. Thank you very much, Steve, for bringing me memory remains. Thank you very much, Adam, for reaching out and participating in conversations. All I'll say at the moment. And yes, just thank you everyone, all my wonderful friends, all my wonderful cast and crew. You are a delight. I love you all. Harvey, it's your fault that we have 10 films in, but I love you, man. You have made my creative juices flow so much, and it's all because of you.
Bye.
Okay, bye guys. Bye. See you later. Really going this time.
Bye.
Definitely going.
Bye.
Definitely going. Bye. He's gone. He's gone. Oh shit! I just saw Elliott get killed.
Oh.
Spoiler.
Elliott.
Okay, he's gone now. So the secret is I'm gonna make him do Steve's show till he's 80. So expect another 10 series of Steve's show, while also another 20 series of the comedy show. And every year we're going to add an episode to the count. So it'll go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, until we're doing 100 episodes a year on both shows. And I'm hopefully going to chronicle the end of Stephen Reed's life by him ending the show as he passes away. Love you really. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.
Now you want to get it right. No, I got it right.